Do you often find yourself using words like always, never, best, worst, horriblest? So there are multiple terms for the usage of such words on a regular basis, and some of them are absolutism, black and white thinking, polarized thinking. The use of these tools is actually quite common. They are often used in an accusatory, argumentative, or self-pity kind of way. For example, I'm sure all of us have yelled at our mom at some stage in our lives that, "Mom, you never let me do what I want to do." This is often done to evoke an emotional response in the other people based off the fog principle. The three elements of the fog principle are fear, obligation, and guilt. So we often use these to put the other person in a defensive position by evoking fear. Or we make them feel responsible for the problem. Obligation. Maybe you want the other person to feel sorry for you. Guilt. Now fine, you might see that there's no problem with this. Maybe you're just happy manipulating people using these terms and it doesn't really affect you in any kind of way. But there is a serious problem if you're articulating your own thoughts in this manner. We often resort to such forms of absolutist reasoning because our minds find it easier to do this. It's like an easy shortcut in coming to a decision where you don't have to consider all the nuances, all the various elements, all the various perspectives that are required to make a well-reasoned decision. It's much easier just to say, oh, this is good or this is bad, and just move on with your life. Now, don't get me wrong, this mechanism is useful. You can't go around analyzing every single thing you're doing. Nearly every decision has so many aspects to it, and if you were to start engaging in the aspects of every decision, we could spend our whole day deciding what to eat for lunch. However, this does not negate the fact that this is a dysfunctional way of thinking, especially when you're making meaningful decisions in your life. This is because an absolute answer is rarely ever the right answer. When your mind gets stuck in this thought process, you're more likely to have emotional swings because of how you perceive everything around you. This is probably why this pattern of thinking has a strong association to anxiety and to depression. Thinking this way can enforce a self-victimizing, helpless mentality. I mean, if you're doing the perfect workout program and you're not losing weight, then you must have the worst genetics and you must have the worst metabolism. And if this is the case, then how are you ever going to get in shape? Apart from merely being an internal problem of how you process your own thoughts, it is also an external problem when you receive information. When people pass on information in absolute terms, it's a good chance that that information is unreliable, and also they probably have some sort of vested interest in you believing that information that they're sharing with you. It is important to be wary of information given in absolutist terms because we often take this information on face value. As I said earlier, our mind likes to take in information in the easiest way possible, and when it's given to us in this absolute black or white way, our minds are more susceptible to want to believe it. This is because information in this format is easy to digest and requires a minimal cognitive load. So much so that we run around like a parrot repeating the fact, internally believing that we've actually thought it through. This is especially true when we get the information from someone that we consider an authority figure. It is important to recognize this so that we can start to choose our authority figures more carefully. Now, since I'm a health and fitness guy, let's talk about this issue in the context of the health and fitness industry, where it is a serious problem. The nature of health and fitness for everyone is so personal, yet we have so many trainers on the internet who claim that they have the best program and the best nutrition protocol for you. As an uninformed consumer, we often take this information on because the answer comes in a very good-looking package. If he or she says this is the best program and I'm doing the best program, then I don't need to think about what I'm doing. It's the best. If I keep doing it, my body will be the best. It's a pain in the neck to consider whether your program truly is the best for you, because that requires you to go do some research, look at alternatives, and take on a whole load of considerations that you have absolutely no interest in doing. So a good way to recognize a good fitness trainer is if they lay out their fitness ideology to you with complete transparency of the pros and the cons, and they don't come across as overstating any aspect. The use of these terms occasionally in the right context, such as an obvious exaggeration or talking about an insignificant detail, that's fine. But if someone consistently uses these dogmatic terms to convince you of their position or buy their program, then I think it's time for you to pull out your skepticals. Yeah, I know I'm gonna die alone. That's all for today's video, guys. I will catch you guys next time. Cheers.